Gracias por todo. I'm very it's my great honor to be here tonight with all of you. Cantinflas was a hero to me, and part of my life was growing up in these theaters, and the fact that we're trying to save them, the fact that we're trying to bring them back, the fact that we're spending time honoring Cantinflas on his 100th birthday tonight, I can't begin to tell you how meaningful that is to me. My grandfather came to Broadway, this street, in 1923 and purchased the Broadway Theater at 4th and Broadway. So we have been in business as a family for 83 years. We then purchased the Rialto Theater, working on down the street, which is at 6th and Broadway. And then my father, who had a vaudeville act, they call themselves the Three Bad Boys. I asked him, were you any good? And he said to me, well, let's put it this way, we were never in a town long enough to have our laundry done. So he opened the Orpheum Theater, which is at 842 South Broadway, in 1932, which wasn't a particularly good year for those of you who remember. What he did, he had an idea to bring vaudeville, 8 acts of vaudeville and 2 movies for 28 cents. And the very first act he brought to the Orpheum Theater was an act, or a man, by the name of Nat King Cole, for $25 per week.
For $25 a week.
And needless to say, Nat King Cole did very well, and my dad wanted to keep him over for a second week. But the king wanted $50 a week, and my dad could only afford $35 a week. So we lost Nat King Cole. So he put in an act called the Will Maston Trio, and in that act was a 4-year-old young man by the name of Sammy Davis Jr. And Chiquito had a great talent for dancing, and he also sang. And my dad, who thought he knew a lot about performers, told him that he was a great little dancer but would never make it as a singer. You're getting more laughs out of the English than the Spanish.
Que parece que el español no está gracioso.
Anyway, my dad developed vaudeville in Los Angeles, and the prices went up from 28 cents to $1 over the course of the years, and he had great acts in there. I mean, everybody played there. Eddie Cantor played there, and Donald O'Connor played there. I'm trying to remember some of the names, but the Andrews Sisters, just about anybody who was anything would play the Orpheum Theater, what they called the Orpheum Circuit, as they traveled around the United States. And then as time went on, in 1948, television came into being, and it was as if the motion picture industry and vaudeville in particular just dropped out of sight. And people stayed home. They stayed home and watched that black box in the living room. So we had to change down here. We had the Broadway, the Rialto, and then we acquired the Globe on this street, and then we had the Palace and the beautiful Los Angeles Theater. We had 15 theaters on Broadway. For those of you who remember, we had the Astro, we had the Broadway, we had the Globe, we had the Palace, we had all of them. And we would be playing everything. I mean, every first-run picture imaginable. There were only 2 first-run theaters in Westwood, the Village and the Bruin, and the rest of Westwood was like sand dunes. And the population started to shift, and a lot of people moved west. And as Jose mentioned, the neighborhood started to change, and people moved out of the downtown area into neighborhoods. So that in the 60s, the area started to turn African American, and the white population had moved out of downtown Los Angeles, And all of a sudden, the Hispanic population started to creep in, and with a few Asian Americans, but it was predominantly black in downtown Los Angeles. So we had to switch with our 15 theaters on Broadway. So we switched to play Shaft and Son of Shaft and Shaft's Big Score and Shaft's Big Family and El Hijo de Shaft, La Hija de Shaft,
¿Usted se acuerda?
La Familia de Shaft.